I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Ham.
Here.
Toohill.
Here.
Esty.
Yes.
Flournoy.
Here.
Kness.
Here.
So as you'll see, we're a little shorthanded. We have 2 people out of town, but we do have a quorum, so we will continue on, and hopefully our city attorney will be here shortly. Any changes to the agenda tonight, council? There will be one change. Mr. Hamilton asked that we postpone. He won't be here tonight. He'll come next meeting. So that's the one change that I have. So with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Well, actual organizational actions first. So, can we do these all at once? One at a time?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is to establish a meeting schedule for the city council, which has been the second and fourth Mondays at 7 p.m. So I'd take a motion to approve that.
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved by Toohill, second by Ham. Any discussion?
Should we add an exemption for December?
Well, we talked about that early. We'll talk about it when it comes up, that those,
Okay, we'll
I
change
think
it.
there's like 3 different
All right, we'll do it next year.
holidays when we push it forward.
Yes.
Or push it back a day.
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Any other discussion? Now, do you want a roll call vote on that, or? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign? Okay, great. Next thing, accept the services of the Jefferson County Posse and Police Reserve.
So moved.
Moved by Toohill,
Second.
second by Esty. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Appointments to boards and commissions. And I sent that to you by email, and I'll read through these. We're going to have one change, and that is, well, I'll get to it. And I've got it posted in front of you there. So Economic Development Committee, chaired by Gandy, and then Toohill and Kness. Environmental Franchise, Chair Esty, Ham, and Rowe. Personnel, Chair Kness, Flournoy, Gandy. Property, Chair Flournoy, Gandy, Esty. Public Safety and Transportation, Chair Ham, Esty, and Rowe. Water and Sewer, Chair Rowe, Ham, and Toohill. Ways and Means, Chair Toohill, Flournoy, Kness. Mayor Pro Tem Flournoy. Area 15 Multi-Housing, Gandy. E911 Board, Rowe. Fairfield Cultural Alliance, Esty. Jefferson County Ambulance, Toohill. Jefferson County Service Agency, Flournoy and Rowe. Semco, Ham, and Walton Club will be Toohill. So you might want to change it on in front of you. Originally, we had Kness on there, but she is also on the board of the country club, so we felt that's best not to have her on. I'm not on the board, but, oh, I thought you were on the board. Okay. Okay, so that's just the one change that's not printed. So I would take a motion to accept those.
Motion to accept.
Moved by Esty, second by Toohill. Any other discussion? Now, please call the roll. Or, I mean, all those in favor say aye. Sorry.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Oh, I kind of did them all at once, didn't I? I did them backwards.
Yeah, you
Okay,
just got
sorry.
boards and
Now,
commissions.
I meant to say city council committee assignments. Now, let's go to boards and commissions. Sorry. And, you know what, do I have that with me? Too many papers. Okay, so these are all renewals. So the airport, we have Sally Hayes and Jim Masterson. Beautification, Mary Williams. The Carnegie Historical Museum, Joe Hunt and Dave Neff. And Public Access, Werner Elmker and Neil Cunningham.
These are reappointments.
These are reappointments.
So we already approved them one separately.
Yes.
So I'd make a motion to accept those appointments.
Moved by Flournoy,
Second.
second by Kness. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Designation of official newspaper, which has been Southeast Iowa Union and Fairfield Ledger.
Motion to continue.
Thank you. Moved by Toohill. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Flournoy. Any
It's slow
discussion?
tonight.
And just so you know, they are going to 2 days a week. So, no other discussion? All
Will
those,
will that change when we have to have committee meetings posted?
So legally, we have to give them 24 hours notice, and everybody, they do post on their website. It won't go into publication. If I send on Friday, it won't publish until Tuesday, which would be after the council.
So as long as it's on their website, we're okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Could we consider adding Brad Frager's Fairfield Journal?
All he has to do is just give me a written verbal. I already sent to the, I have media contacts. This is just adding the official publication where we publish all our public notices, our public hearing notices, those types of items. So we need like a weekly paper for that. If he wants to be added to our contact list, all he has to do is put it in writing.
yeah.
Okay.
And he knows that.
Yeah,
Right. But he would have to publish weekly in order to meet our requirements.
yes, yes.
What happens if the ledger union closes down?
Legislature better change the rules.
Because it's getting there.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so,
have a first and second.
okay, we do have a first and second. Any other discussion? Tom, you look still like you have a question. No? Okay.
No, I just always look puzzled.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
It's your poker face.
Okay. And last, designation of official depository, which has been Midwest One Bank.
I
Move to
moved.
appro-
Go ahead.
Move to approve designation of official depository.
Moved by Esti,
Second.
second by Flournoy. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Great, thank you. Now we go to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of the December 18th, 2023 council meeting. Approval of the December 22nd, 2023 payroll for $160,727.41. Approval of the January 5th, 2023 payroll of $160,859.34. Acceptance of the Beautification Commission minutes. Approval of liquor license for El Paso Tex-Mex Bar and Grill and University BP. And approval of total claims in the amount of $314,526.96. We had no claims over $75,000.
Move to approve.
Moved by Ham,
Second.
second by Kness. Any discussion?
I've reviewed all the claims and I recommend approval payment.
Okay, any other questions? No, please call the roll.
Ham,
Yes.
Kness,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Esti,
Yes, I just have to abstain from approval of the minutes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Great, just writing that down, yeah. Okay, great, thank you. We will move on to our public forum and appearances. So, looks like we have Deb Williamson here to talk about the Beautification Commission.
Thank you. You are brave souls for coming out here tonight. So, what I'm gonna go over here this evening is what we, achieved in 2023 and what we have planned for 2024. So the commission presented 6 Rose Awards, this acknowledging exceptional gardening or landscaping. And when we post those on Facebook, it just blows up. They get so many hits. The community really loves someone winning a Rose Award. So I think it ripples out through the community with that inspiration, kind of what it was intended for. We're working on developing sort of an expansion of the Rose Award in memory of Karen Harig. And we've begun replacing the big container pots downtown. Those flower pots that sit on the corners by the banks and in front of America's, those are not self-watering plants. And you may have noticed during the summer they get a little crispy. So we're slowly but surely replacing them with these beautiful commercial-sized self-watering plants. And we have 2 of them arriving shortly, and they'll be installed this spring, probably in front of the public bathrooms, unless the council would like them at a different location. Of course, we also each year manage the hanging pots downtown. And does anyone want to know the secret to why they look so beautiful?
Park and Rec waters them every day.
Well, Park and Rec lobbied for years for us to get self-watering containers, and that's one of the secrets. There's a reservoir in the bottom of those hanging containers, and so Park and Rec just has to water them like once a week, and so they never get spindly or anything. The other secret is they're called super petunias, and there's no deadheading. They just look fantastic, like picture perfect every day, all season. So if you want to add that to your garden, go right ahead.
That's good to know.
Yeah, isn't it great? We also planted and managed the downtown and the center alley pots. So not just those containers that run along Burlington, but also the ones in front of the Civic Center and in the sweet little alley. I think it adds a nice touch. We had a custom planter built for the City Hall. Any of y'all had a chance to see that? It's had a couple of seasons now. We went through the fall and then the winter. I love it. It's not self-watering, so we really appreciate City Hall watering it for us. We replaced several snow and drought damaged plantings in the downtown nodes. Now there are like 38, 40 some nodes, so that there was quite a bit of deep cleaning that we did this year. Like some evergreens were just completely burnt, and we just got rid of them and replaced them. We also launched, pardon me, we launched a plogging campaign this year. This was Lou's idea. Well, I credit him with the idea. He originally wanted us to try and encourage everyone who attended the art walk to just pick up litter when they saw it. And so I thought, that's a marvelous idea. And I turned it into a plogging campaign, which just means it's the combination of picking up litter while jogging. It's not a term I made up. It comes from Sweden. And it caught on. So we have plogging events in town, and we go around, and in an hour, we'll just sweep through the whole downtown and pick up all the litter. Volunteers helping us. And you may remember this spring, the tulips sprung in the, let's see, what side is that? The south side of the square. Beautiful red and yellow and white tulips and pink. We've planted another 400 tulips on the north side of the square. And so this spring, you're going to see tulips surrounding the square. They're just going to be spectacular. We also added more perennials to the nodes, including mums. And while people claim mums don't come back, I think I know the secret to mums that will overwinter and come back every year. We also orchestrated a lot of events where volunteers could come and help plant and clean and just, be involved in the Beautification Commission. We have a new website. I think that went live, I don't know, sometime in the summer. And it's gotten a bizarrely large amount of traffic. I'm not sure why. I don't really get out there and use it a lot. I mean, I send the occasional, newsletter or whatever, and it just seems to, it must be the postings. Oh, I know what it is. It's probably from the Rose Awards, because we have at the bottom of that Facebook post the link to our website. So that's how people find out about what we do. That's how we get a lot of our volunteers, because there's a form on the website that allows people to sign up. We also get great feedback on that website, and so we've been able to hear from people who would like to see more trees on South Main, or would like to see more pollinator plants and things like that. So that's been very valuable. The Peace Garden Project. Now this might not be as well known as the hanging petunias, but The Peace Garden project is a little space in Howard Park where there's a beautiful rock with a permanent poem on it and a ginkgo tree that we planted there. And it's really in response to, it started, the idea came up when the Ukraine war broke out. And so we wanted to make it more about peace than which, the war of the day. So it's going to be, we're going to expand that even more in 2024 because right now it's just a rock and a tree, and so it kind of needs a little more around it and a bench next to it. We've increased the size of the commission by 3 members, but sadly lost one. Meredith was on the commission for 6 years. We still ask her for help even though she's not, because she's also the keeper of a lot of knowledge, so we have to keep her for that. And then for this coming year, we'll continue to sort of maintain the pots and the garden nodes as we did this year, but we're going to put some special focus on the entrance signs to the city, really clean them up, add some color, mulch them, and make sure that they get plenty of water, even in the summer when it's not raining. We hope to give some design input for the Main Street corridor. I think having a cohesive design for the city would be something that we would desire. One problem we've had, and we hope to improve upon in 2024, is weed control. Nobody wants to clean weeds. Volunteers don't want to do it. Business owners don't want to do it. And the weeds are definitely not going to do it. They just keep coming back. So I don't know if there's anything the council can do to help with that. If you can think of something, I mean, could it be putting a notice in the water bill saying the businesses on the square are responsible for the space in front of their establishment? I mean, I'm not sure.
I know this last spring, I and another person met with Mendy, the chamber director, and asked to get it out through the chamber.
That's a good place.
And I know this other person purchased a tool and gave it to the chamber that digs out in the cracks.
Oh, nice.
So I bought one myself to see how it worked. It's a little bit, I don't know, marginal.
Does it tear up the concrete at all, or
No.
is it just, no?
No, it's not that good.
It's not like an edger. I mean,
But-
there have been so many discussions about this. There's, on the one hand, a weed killer would take care of it in short order a couple times a year, 3 times a year. But this community, and especially this commission, has a strong feeling about weed killers. And so we've been searching for a less toxic solution. And
Isn't it vinegar and salt?
Vinegar
they
and salt, yeah.
Epsom salt and vinegar,
Epsom salt and vinegar.
if I remember correctly.
Oh, you haven't tried this personally?
I have.
Does anybody have? Oh, you have?
Yeah. It works, but it's slow.
Okay.
But I think there is a real strong vinegar for that
I'll donate
particular
some Epsom
purpose.
salts to you. It's been in my.
And then I think
That's what it's
one of the farm stores does have a kind of granular, non-toxic that you can put in cracks, because
Slow
we
release.
use it at home. But, it's not like you do it once and it's good for all summer. It does take 2 or 3 applications throughout the
Okay.
summer.
So this is at the.
And it might not be practical cost-wise, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
We're just doing it in a small area, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say just
Boiling water.
hot water in your coffee maker. And that way you can just pour it right out on.
So that would probably be a good tip for the
with
chamber,
salt. Yeah.
because I don't think we're gonna have enough hot water for the whole square. So thank you for these recommendations. And then another thing we're gonna focus on in 2024 are the west side, Fairfield's west side service signs. The same, it'll look just like the one at Chautauqua Park with the really beautiful sort of frame with the service signs, lions, kiwanis, all that represented within it. Right now, the one we have is a little hodgepodge. And we're going to clean it up.
Great.
Let's see. And so last year, I believe, we were granted 10,000, 10,000 even. Now with these, the expansion of our plans this year, we are requesting 12,500. And I don't know, did everyone get a copy of the budget?
No, I didn't pass that out to
Okay.
everyone yet.
So I think the biggest difference, let's see if I can figure this out really quick. I'm sorry, you don't have your eyes on this, because it would have made it easier.
Well,
Ways and
it'll get
Means has
referred to
not.
Ways and Means.
Yeah,
Okay,
they haven't met yet, so they'll see it soon.
okay, so really then I don't need to go over it. Yay,
Yeah, they'll call you if they have questions, I'm sure.
okay. And do any of you have questions for me this evening? Any more garden secrets?
What's the website? What is it?
Fairfield Beautification Commission.org.
And that's where people can go to find out about volunteer opportunities and the plugging and,
The
okay.
plugging and
Great.
who's on the commission, the events that we have coming up. What else? We have a blog, so you can learn about how to plant tulips, and that's a kind of a way where we got so many volunteers to plant the tulips this year because everybody wanted to learn how to plant tulips, and we did like a workshop. So we were done in an hour, like just the whole park done in an hour. It was amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
And so
So-
we're finding that's what people really enjoy is these events. And then they'll come out. And then we, say, well, if you see a weed, pull it up.
There you go. Thanks, Deb.
You're
And
welcome.
a plug for Beautification Commission, so if anybody wants to be on the commission or help, let Deb know or myself. Great. So we're moving on to resolution, action items, and ordinances. The first action item has to do with consideration to award the Crow Creek Bridge project and authorize the contract.
So the Crow Creek Bridge the reconstruction of the bridge was let through the DOT on December 19th. Per DOT requirements, the bid tabs themselves are confidential until 30 days after. I am able to share the total bids amount with you, and they came in very favorably. We received 2 bids, which is not uncommon for a bridge project. The engineer's estimate was $1,770,000 and change. Iowa Bridge and Culvert was the low bidder at $1,423,286.80. Cunningham was the other bidder at $1,566,393.90. So we did speak with our consulting engineer on this, and even though that they are lower, there is nothing obviously that they are missing from it. The consulting engineer feels that it was a competitive bid environment. I also believe Iowa Bridge and Culvert is doing some work in the neighboring county as well, which may have helped their bids. So, and a reminder on the funding on this. So there has been some local funds spent on the design engineering. To Doug Flournoy's point at the last meeting, there's $150,000 coming from, or that has come from the county, that is going towards this project because of the transfer of jurisdiction from the Iowa DOT. And then we have $1 million in DOT grant funds for this project. So with the bids coming in lower, we'll be saving some of our STBG funds and saving those for Burlington, which is good. It's a little bit to go a very long way that we need on Burlington, but every little bit helps. So we would recommend the award of the contract to Iowa Bridge and Culvert, and then authorize city staff to sign the construction agreement.
There's no time limit on the STBG.
There is not. Our region gets nervous when the region as a whole doesn't spend the money. But we have a Tumwa, and I mean, a Tumwa, Van Buren, County, Jefferson County are all, and Mahaska County is also in our region. So between the cities and the counties, normally at least one of us has, $1 million or a $2 million project a year, which does make sure that we are as a whole keeping our funding, level, and we're not letting too much of a reserve build up. And so at this point, the district is not worried about us having what we have for a balance. We spent a lot of it down with Highway 1 and 32nd and 4th, because we were at, I don't know, probably close to 2 million, and then between those two projects, or 3 projects, spent it down, and I couldn't tell you where we're at.
So they don't make adjustments based on your rate of spending?
No. We always get nervous that they will, but that's why, again, as a region, we try to make sure that we're collectively spending something.
So I would move that we accept the bid from Iowa Bridge and Culvert LC for 268.8 million.
Moved by Flournoy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Toohill.
Do we need to also authorize city staff to sign the
Yeah, I
construction
was gonna do that
agreement?
separately.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Any questions yet for Melanie? No? Not, please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Esti,
Yes.
I also make,
Kness, oh, sorry, Kness,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Go ahead, Doug. You were gonna make a motion.
well, you got to,
I could tell.
you have to say the motion passes, or something like that.
Okay, that motion unanimously passed.
Now I'll make the motion authorizing city employees to sign the contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Flournoy, second by Esti. Any questions? Not, please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Esti,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Kness,
Yes.
Great, thank you, that passed. Okay, the next has to do with the annexation of Prairie Oak Subdivision. So I will open the public hearing on this topic. Is there anyone from the public that wants to speak? Go ahead. If you'll give your name and what ward you're from.
I have no clue on the ward. I know where I live.
Well, you can say that too, if you want.
Yeah, just your address.
Keith Vladimir, and I have a couple of comments on, let's start with the description. That's the correct one. This one has I don't know why they put it on here, but they have a parcel ID. Parcel ID is not correct. Since Lot 1 of Prairie Oak Subdivision is now into this part that wants to be annexed in. So that is there. That's not right. The other one is Prairie Oaks, accepting Lot 1 of Prairie Oak Subdivision, an unrecorded plat attached here too. How can you have an unrecorded plat attached here too? And if it's unrecorded and it was new, then it needs to be recorded.
So I'm going to remind the council, this is something that we had in 2023, and Keith brought it up then, and then I think Mr. Harvey went back and redid some things, is that correct?
That was my understanding. We
Yeah.
took that one area and.
Ed, you want to come up to the microphone, please?
My understanding was the one area that wasn't included had to be annexed into, or not, I'm sorry, not annexed, had to be turned into a county subdivision. So, Mark Stimson went through that process, and my understanding is the Board of Supervisors approved it, and shortly after that, we filed this. So as far as I know, we complied with everything, so I don't know how to answer specific questions, because my understanding was we did exactly what we were supposed to do. And it's taken probably 8 or 9 months to get through the county on that other one, but we've done it, so I'm not really sure what the concerns are.
Ed, is the accepted lot number 1, is that the county subdivision?
That would be, I might, Okay, yeah, Melanie is actually gonna know more about it than I do, but,
All right.
that's my understanding, yes.
So, yeah, John, do you have any other comments,
Well,
questions?
it's possible to do an unrecorded plat, and you just use the meets and bounds description. And it's still, if it's a good description, it's a good description, but we prefer under our subdivision rules that are in our ordinance to have plats when they come in like this. So this is kind of an unusual
It is recorded.
setup. Yeah,
It is recorded now.
it is recorded
That's
now.
an error in the description.
Okay, all right. Good.
Okay,
So, I mean, the description needs to be corrected. It get unrecorded out of there.
okay. So,
Well, the parcel, you said the parcel ID was incorrect?
Yeah.
Do you have the correct one?
Nope.
Melanie?
I think it's correct. So
I-
I'm not for sure.
The auditor does not have a parcel number for that or an ID number. The thing to do is just take it out.
Is it required to be in there, John? Is it required to be in there?
The parcel number, no.
So we can strike that?
Just take it out.
Yeah. Do you have any reason why it needs to be in, Mel? Okay.
Just strike the last 3 lines of that paragraph.
So,
Is that number 2512 part of the parcel ID or supposed to be part of the parcel ID, or what is
I
that
have no
reference
clue.
to?
Yeah. Ed, are you okay with excluding the parcel number?
Sure.
All right.
I mean, that's no big deal. I don't know why they put it in there, I don't know.
so, yeah, Tom's suggestion is to just put a period under Prairie Oak subdivision, take out those last 3 lines.
do we need 2 motions for that? One to strike it, one to pass them?
And if you want, it's just, east of replat of Prairie Oaks, Prairie Lake subdivision, phase 2, accepting lot 1. And take out that unrecorded, because it is recorded now.
Yeah.
Then that'll make it correct.
Well, I move that we amend the resolution as discussed to end.
Oh, before you do that, I need to
Yeah.
close the public
Oh,
hearing.
sorry.
Sorry. So, is anybody, there's no one else that wants to speak, correct? Okay, so I'm gonna close the public hearing. Now we can go on to the resolution. Go ahead,
Okay, I
Elizabeth.
move that we approve the resolution considering the annexation of Prairie Oak subdivision with the amendments that have been discussed, specifically that the property description and after also accepting Lot 1 Prairie Oak subdivision, period.
I think we need to omit Prairie Oak subdivision also, because I think that's in reference to an unrecorded plat
So
attached.
also accepting Lot 1, comma, Prairie Oak subdivision, period, and then we remove the following. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think Tom is suggesting at phase 2, put a period there and
Also
strike the
accepting
rest of
lot
it.
1.
Jason, can you open
period.
up the resolution, please, and go to the last page? So the recorded plat is, the name of the subdivision is Prairie Oaks subdivision, because in the county, they have to have a subdivision name. And so what the description is saying is, it's all of the 30 acres except lot 1 of Prairie Oaks subdivision.
So we need that Prairie Oak subdivision in
Yep.
there. Correct, so
Yep.
period after Prairie Oak subdivision.
Yep.
Okay.
And the rest of your motion is and delete from an unrecorded plat attached here to parcel ID blah-de-blah and number 2512, end of deletion.
Actually, there's a period there. We just
Blah,
strike
blah,
that.
that's technical
I'm
terms,
putting
Rebecca.
that in the minutes.
You get all of that on the motion, it's a 3-page motion.
And the number 2512,
That
does
might,
that have anything to do with anything? I mean, It must.
2502 is the recording number, so I don't know if that was the intention of that number, so I don't know what that number is. So I
it's
agree
not
with-
necessary to have it.
I can't determine why it was in there.
So
Okay.
just to read this back, so the second paragraph, I guess, is the well, 1, 2, 3, 4th.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's not.
We're gonna keep
his-
everything up until it says,
The
lot
property
1.
description paragraph.
Property description's not labeled.
It says the following described property to
Yeah.
wit.
All right. So the second Prairie Oak subdivision, put a period there and strike the rest of that paragraph.
Also accepting Lot 1 Prairie Oak subdivision, correct? Don't we need that information
Yeah,
in
that's what I
there
meant,
too?
the second Prairie Oaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
phrase.
So the first 3 lines, period, and then delete the next 3 lines. Okay, so that's our motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Toohill.
Rebecca, read that back exactly what Morrissey said.
Jason, you're recording, right?
Okay, any other questions, clarifications? Not, please call the roll.
Esti,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Kness.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Great, thank you, that passed unanimously. Okay, the next is the matter of entering into a site lease agreement with Interstate Power and Light Company, our ground-mounted solar. This is with Alliant, and so I'm going to open a public hearing to see if anybody wants to speak to this lease agreement. Seeing none, go ahead, Patrick, if you'll come up to the microphone. Say who you are and what ward you're in, or...
My name is Patrick Bosold. I live in the 3rd Ward here in Fairfield. And I've been working in utility and community scale wind and solar for over 3 years now. And I really want to urge the city to move forward with whatever can be done with solar on city-owned land. Andy Hallman wrote a very nice article about this in the paper that appeared last Friday, which I almost missed had it not been for a Facebook post. I'm a subscriber to the paper. I have to get with it and get on the daily news feed there. But just want to plant a couple seeds for you all. I think the proposal on offer there is for about 4 acres, about 2 megawatts of solar. And I'm assuming that the tie-in for that is going to be the ITC substation north of town, which is close to where the city's land is around the airport. Connie, I think Michael Moore has spoken to you about this a time or two in the past. There's actually about 300 acres of city-owned land up there. Now, a lot of that is covered by the airport and runway. My back-of-an-envelope calculations and looking at GIS information online indicated that there's about 200, possibly 200 of that 300 acres would be usable for solar. And again, just drawing a big picture here, okay?
So, well, before you, I'm just gonna let you know
Yeah.
that the section that they're putting on is about 30 acres.
Right,
And we're starting here with the idea of hopefully expanding at some point,
okay, good.
just so
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, good.
In
yeah.
fact, they didn't want to do more than, was it 9 acres
Yeah.
that we have now? 6?
Yeah, I think it was quoted as about 5 or 6 in the
That's all, they
newspaper
wouldn't go above
article.
that, I thought,
Yeah,
at the
well,
moment, anyway.
not entirely surprised, but again, Connie, thank you for that comment. It wasn't included in the newspaper article, but the devil's in the details. But I think with that, and Dan Walker has a couple of adjacent parcels right next to the airport. I'm just saying, at least in theory, you could do about 300 acres of solar, 60 megawatts. That is pretty much, I mean, it's not as simple as, oh, good, we'll just pump it into Fairfield and we'll have all our electricity needs met. It's much more complex than that, but
Well, are the airport hangars sufficiently reinforced to hold panels?
good, I don't know. My calculation doesn't include that. This is all land mount around the area. And one point that was made is, depending upon what your setbacks are, you may need FAA approval, which is
Yeah.
doable. They've done this elsewhere in Wisconsin. And my public input on this is absolutely jump on it. You know, it's good revenue for the city. It's a good use of the land. If you can do also another thought to introduce, growing crops underneath solar panels is a coming thing, and it's coming on fast. if you want to go online and read up about it, the Colorado Agrivoltaic Learning Center has a 27-acre site that a number of people here in town have been to, including me. And you can graze livestock. You can grow out cash crops for delivery to the area, the community in the area. And this, if you did nothing and you can just plant it to prairie forbs and grasses, and it's excellent pollinator crop for bees. I know one utility scale company that does it at that scale.
Does that require special mounting of the panels?
Those uses do not, actually. You can graze sheep underneath a standard solar array, the heighting and stuff as it is. Other types of livestock, but actually the university grazed sheep for one season underneath their array. I actually met the young lady who was doing it. It's a win-win. So my respectful advice or input to the city is go ahead with it. And by all means, expand it as much as you possibly can. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Patrick. Does anybody else want to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and we'll move on to the resolution to enter into a site lease agreement with Interstate Power and Light Company, the ground-mounted solar. I just want to point out on page 38 where it's highlighted in blue, and that talks about the other option that you can have of getting credit, et cetera, but I think the recommendation from our city administrator is to move forward with the annual lease or a monthly lease of $4,775.
I had a question, or you haven't closed up the public hearing? Have you
Yes, I
closed
did.
it? Okay. There were a couple of blanks in here, just with yellow highlighting.
I know on the first page, we have to put in the date and the county,
Okay.
which will be Jefferson.
Okay, and then the last, that's the address and phone number.
Yeah, are you talking about page 5, Doug, where it
I can't
says
remember, I just looked through it before.
Yeah, there is.
lessor, senior representative shall mean, and there's a yellow highlight with a blank.
Yeah, I think that's it. And one of the other one's on page 28, but I think that's self-explanatory. It's on page 5, Judy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 28 is name and address. Let's see.
I forgot to ask a question. When you said that there's an option to expand to more acres and a larger size, is that going to be part of the agreement that the city intends to sign?
Not right now, no, I don't think so.
Um,
So let's talk about that after council.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay,
That's an undefined phrase, it looks, or term, on page 5.
right.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
City administrator and I have been over this multiple times. It's been back up to Light and Power with a couple of revisions. The only thing that, except for the discussion about whether to go with credits or go with a flat rental rate, there was a little bit of review I did as far as compliance with FAA, and there is a paragraph on page 31 that anything we do that's in the airport, what I would call territory, it isn't necessarily just the airport grounds, but the flight area, the whole of that area out there has to have language in it that it meets the aviation requirements of FAA. So we've got a little paragraph plugged in there, which the power company was more than willing to accept as part of the covenants. So other than that,
And John, was there, I don't remember seeing any language about expansion,
no, we didn't
right?
consider expansion at this point.
So that will come at another time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the things about this kind of lease anytime you have a lease that's gonna affect us for longer than 3 years, if we were gonna do an expansion or something like that, we'd have to bring it back to council and go over the long-term plan for the additional expansion anyway. So it'll be a new issue when it comes up.
And on page 5, where there's that blank, what, can you clarify that?
Oh, whoop, all right, I'm sorry.
Bottom of page 5.
Yeah, the bottom of page 5, last line.
I think it just means whoever we're delegating the authority to be first contact on a lease issue, and I think it means our city administrator.
Okay.
The other
Okay.
possibility would be our airport fixed base operator manager, but I think it means our city administrator.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
What page is are the fees listed? I can't find it now.
Go to page 38.
It's a
You mean what
grid.
they're gonna pay us?
It's at the end, yeah.
Yeah, it's at the end, page 38.
Oh, past the signature line. It's in the addendum. That's why I couldn't find it.
And this is a 5-year lease with ability to renew 3 times, I think that's
Yeah, 3
right?
times for 5 years each.
Yeah.
But the term is 20 years? Right? And then it extends, or how does that work then? It's on page 10.
Yeah.
The term shall begin on the effective date and end at noon central time on the 20th anniversary of the effective date. So is that not the term? Is that
Yeah.
a different meaning?
We'll go to the next paragraph.
Oh, it's 5 years initially and then 3
Yeah.
renewals of 5 years each. That gets us at 20 years.
Yeah.
Will automatically renew for up to 3 additional 5-year terms.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so
Unless
there's gonna be
somebody-
5 years and then it's gonna renew automatically for,
Unless somebody gives a notice.
got it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
Or other
3
contracts.
additional terms.
Yeah.
For 5 years, up to 20 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Or the contracts kind of read similar to that. So the cone, the cost of new entry, the 98,590, was that paid to us or? That's on page 38.
Well, we get,
Did we get that one?
No.
I think it's their road.
Huh?
Their road.
Or what?
Their road, I would assume. No, I don't think so.
Okay, and the annual lease is 57,000 and the monthly leases. So will they pay us annually or monthly?
I would assume they'll just pay us monthly.
Okay. You know, we were renting that, just for the public knows, if we were renting that land out to farm it, how much would we get a month, approximately? Do you remember what the?
Not even anywhere close to
No,
that.
but I can't
they're
remember the
for the-
cost per acre
We
we were
got,
renting.
wasn't it 475 or
Oh.
480 or something?
Like a
Cool.
10th.
480,
It was-
less than $500 an
Yeah,
acre
that's what I recall.
is what the
Right.
original.
10 times what we were getting.
Yeah.
But this is not per acre, right?
Right.
This is the monthly
Right.
lease.
We're doing 6 acres.
Yeah.
And then this is not, there's no escalation clause in here for, is that fixed at 20 years or is it an escalation clause?
I think it's only for
No.
20 years and then it has to be renegotiated.
You can include an escalation factor in a lease like this, if the city wants to. It's most of the time, it's called an inflation escalator. You may want to, respectfully offered, you may want to consider that. And it's something to think about. Also, payments on this usually are made, this sort of thing are made either quarterly or annually. And that should be specified in the lease,
It does speak about monthly.
say again?
It does speak monthly. It says
Okay,
monthly
so that's-
lease.
It's specified. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
well,
fine.
it says it has it both ways, actually. But I'm assuming that they're gonna pay us monthly. That's what I would expect based off of this.
It talks about monthly run on under late payments, so it's spelled out as monthly. Within 5 days of the date of the written notice, lessee or lesser,
Okay.
if any payment of monthly rent is not made within 5 days.
Well, this still looks like it's in sort of draft form because you still have strike-throughs in the document.
So, should we look at that, an escalator clause, John, and then bring it back next round, next meeting and take out all this that needs to be striked anyway?
We can,
We talk about it with a committee?
yeah, let's talk about it with the committee. I'm not sure I would have recommended an escalator yet.
Okay. So,
Pretty good rate.
should we move it to property committee? Table it and go to property committee? So you can see it in final form
Did
next.
property looked at the first time or environmental and
I
franchise?
was thinking environment franchise, but
Property did.
Property did?
There for that one.
Okay.
what's the
I'll-
motion?
And
Just move it. Go ahead.
I make a motion to move it to property committee for final draft.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay. It's been moved and seconded to move it to property committee for final draft. Any other questions?
Actually, I do. Do I need to have another public hearing? Or is this one good enough?
Well, if we change the document, probably will, won't we?
You will if we change the document. We haven't yet, so
Okay.
I wouldn't set it for another one yet.
As of right now, our intent is just to clean it up with eliminating the strike-through verbiage,
Yeah.
so.
And you
Discuss
Well, we'll
discuss
discuss the,
escalators.
an
escalator.
additional clause,
Yes.
but perhaps.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to move this to property committee for those final revisions. Any other questions or discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Toohill?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes,
Kness?
Yes.
Esti?
it was
Yes.
in property
Ham?
originally.
Yes.
It was in property originally.
Okay, that is moved, so there's just no action on the resolution. Okay. Okay, so let's go on the next resolution. Consideration of tax abatement application for 1004 West Grimes Avenue. This is Don Hoelting's property.
I move we approve the tax abatement application for 1004 West Grimes Avenue.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, I have one question. Do we need a limit? Because his total cost of improvements are 150,000, but it's up to 75,000. So we don't have to like include that in the motion, right? We just approve it and, okay.
Yeah.
Second.
Auditor should take care of all that.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, or no, excuse me, call the roll.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Kness?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would suggest if you haven't been by there to go look at that property. It looks great compared to what it was. It's a shining little star. Ordinance 1236, I'll open the public hearing. Does anybody want to speak to consideration of amending large item pickup sticker fees? We're moving those to $30. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And again, this is the second reading of this ordinance.
Just to be clear, we're only moving it because Waste Management moved their fee. So we're not doing it independent. So I make the motion to move ordinance 1236 from the second to the third reading.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Flournoy, second by Toohill. Any discussion?
Well, our ordinance doesn't specify, it just says it's gonna be based on the rate per item as determined by solid waste provider, right? So they could change it, but they've changed it to $30 right now. Okay.
We left it that way so it could be flexible, right? So if they change
we
it
don't have to
again,
have
we don't
another
have to reread,
ordinance.
right?
Okay. Go ahead and call the roll.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Kness?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 1237 and 1238, again, these are the second readings for the electric franchise fees and the gas franchise fees. So I'm gonna open a public hearing for the electric franchise fees. Anybody want to speak to that? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and we'll move on to the second reading for the electric franchise fee.
Honorable Mayor, I have some points to make about this.
Okay.
I did a quick analysis, and I apologize. I wanted Jason to get it put up on the TV so everybody could see it, but I was a little bit late getting it to him, so I apologize for my lack of being prepared. But I did, a quick calculation between 2022 property valuations and the increased 2023 property valuations that we all received in the mail this past spring. And overall, and this is all of Jefferson County, so I'm not speaking just to the city of Fairfield, but we've seen a $141 million increase in valuations. While that doesn't directly correlate to our property taxes increasing, I find that it would be prudent for us to finish our budgeting process prior to just doing a blanket increase in franchise fees. Because, just taking, I did have somebody reach out to me about what this would do. Their Alliant energy bill in our community is over $100,000 a year. So this would take them from over $10,000 a year in fees to over $53,000 a year in fees. And, they're already looking at an increase in property taxes because of increased valuations. So I think it would be prudent for us as a council to take a step back on the franchise increase and see where our budget lands when, Doug and crew are done with it. We've kind of taken a first pass at what the combined general levy looks like. Increase-wise, he hasn't gotten all the way through the spreadsheet to figure out what the total levies will be. And, being a person on Ways and Means, I think that I am prepared to do the work. So I believe we should kick this back to Ways and Means and have them review and, really go through if this is the right way that we increase revenue to to some of the big community leaders in Fairfield. So
I can
that would be
appreciate those
my
comments.
recommendation.
Just as a side note, I did speak to one of our larger manufacturers so that they could notify all manufacturers that this was on the agenda. I didn't want it to get passed without them knowing and how it would affect their bottom lines, because obviously our manufacturers use a large amount of electricity and potentially gas. And that's not including some of our larger commercial buildings like downtown. So I actually expected someone probably from the manufacturing community to be here tonight, but the weather is probably not helping.
Yep.
I did look at my own bill from a year ago because I do have a big old house. And from one standpoint, it looks to me like in the dead of winter, I could be going from $10 to $50. Is that a lot of money? No. Can I eat it? Yes. Is it grocery money? Yes. And so we do have a lot of older homes in town that, again, people have been pinched these last couple of years.
Yep.
So,
And, yep. And to add to, the person that reached out to me, they do give a lot of money to, the community, and this would directly affect them being able to give to, the daycare centers and all of the different things that we have out there as amenities. I would much prefer, as just a person that's done so much fundraising in this community, to go to them and say, hey, the Civic Center needs a new HVAC system. Would you be willing to donate money to it, rather than try to tax our way into it? So that's just kind of the take that I have on it. I'm happy to have those conversations. When Ways and Means goes through and finds the big ticket items that we need to come up with funds for, I'd love to sit down and figure out where those funds come from.
Also, Mayor, to that point, the memo that Doug attached in the email that he sent out earlier today, and going through all the different cities that have adopted franchise fees, some of them have different rates for residential or commercial, and that might be something that we could look at as well, so it doesn't have a negative impact. I'm thinking too of some of the, like you mentioned, some of the businesses on the square, and some of those buildings are older and they're commercial, so I feel like they're going to be impacted as well, maybe a little bit more than some of the newer commercial buildings even.
I think we looked at that question. Are we allowed to do a differential? I don't think we're allowed to do a differential between.
Yeah, I didn't.
There are
think we
cities
were
that
either.
have
I
that.
know there are.
Are they not allowed to?
No, I think
Yeah.
they have different providers.
Yeah, and they're not allowed because we cannot.
Discriminate.
We cannot have price discrimination. We can't and we can set, the only time that we can do that is like on our commercial water uses, that we can designate that, but we can't do that on utilities.
Why can we do it on commercial water and not on utilities?
I don't know.
Well, I know the Iowa code doesn't allow us to differentiate drinking water on a sliding scale.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But when you have very large users of on the order of tens of thousands of gallons a month, then they can have a special rate when it's a very large.
So other
amount.
communities that do it or other cities that have adopted it, it's only because they have different
Right. and-
providers?
Yeah, because I actually called the League of Cities, and they said they can't do that, and it was because I believe that they have different providers, but they gave me a reason why I wrote that down. I thought I sent it out, but I
Well,
couldn't
our
look at it.
our water department and the Park and Rec have a different gas provider than Alliant.
They do, yes.
What's the name of that company?
Wood
River something.
Wind
Wood
Ri-
River.
Wood
Wood
River.
River
For some reason,
Energy.
those
Really?
two parts of the city are provided not by Alliant but by somebody else.
You said Park and Rec and who else?
Yeah, so we could do one franchise rate with them and another one with Alliant, for example, and that's how you can get a differential rates and in the same city. I don't think you can do it if you have everybody with Alliant. You can't charge business one rate and residential another rate.
Okay.
I think that's the reason. So we're
So,
Do I
what's
need
the
to
pleasure?
make a motion?
I'm gonna make the
Yes.
motion to move this back to, I lost my screen. What's the ordinance number?
1237.
I'll make a motion to move
1237.
1237 back to committee, Ways and Means.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to move this back to Ways and Means. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Kness,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Esti,
Yes.
Okay, 1238, which is the gas franchise fees.
I'd make a motion to move ordinance 1238 back to Ways and Means.
Okay,
Second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to move 1238, the gas franchise fees back to Ways and Means. Questions?
Did we have a public hearing for both of them already? We did, right?
just
No, just the electric.
Yeah,
We
you
didn't-
called
Yes,
them
it
both.
would.
Oh,
We didn't do the public hearing for gas.
I can, but I'll open the public hearing, but I don't think there's anybody that wants to say anything, correct? Okay, yeah, so I'll close that public hearing. So, no other questions? So it's been moved and seconded to take that back to Ways and Means. Go ahead and call the roll.
Kness,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Esti,
yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Okay, great. Ordinance 1239, this is the second reading, consideration of amending noticing of abatements. And you gonna talk about?
public hearing first.
Oh, I can. So I'll open the public hearing. Does anybody want to talk or say anything about 1239? Amending noticing of abatements. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Just review for us, Melanie, what's happening here.
Yeah. So I'll start off by saying staff is recommending that you, or requesting that you waive the rules and pass this through the third ordinance. The reason being what this ordinance does is it changes our method of service for nuisance. Right now, our code states, and John, stop me if I'm completely off base here, but our code states that we follow Iowa law, and it's very, does not allow us a lot of options, says that we only can hand deliver the notice of nuisance. And so what we are proposing changing to allowing for, on the second page, allowing for 6 different ways that we can notify someone of a nuisance, including a hand delivery, but it also allows us to do certified mail as well as registered mail if they're not picking up their certified mail. And all of the many ways that we have tried to contact different people who do not wish to be notified that they have a nuisance to be dealt with. And again, so our reasoning for requesting that this get moved through the 3rd is right now the process that the district court, the court judge has that we've been doing is taking up a lot of staff time. Weston is spending all of his time hand delivering nuisances. He asked if the city would pay for a trip out to California to hand deliver one of the nuisances. I told him no, and John wanted to go with him.
Hawaii and Florida also.
Yeah, but it is taking up a lot of staff time in order to do this, so that's why we're requesting, and we can get it published and then go back to mailing notices rather than hand delivering them.
All right, so I'll make the motion that we waive the requirement for a 3rd reading.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Kness, or moved by Flournoy, second by Kness. Any questions? No, please call the
I'm
roll.
just curious, can we
Yeah.
waive the requirement for 3rd, or we just have to move it from 2nd to 3rd? Is there a
You're
difference?
suspending the
We're
rules.
suspending the rules.
Suspending the rules, okay.
Yeah. We're suspending the rules.
So then I'll make the motion to approve ordinance 1220.
Oh, hang on, we gotta vote first. To suspend the rules.
Yes.
We got a first and a second.
Getting wet, snowy out there.
Sorry. Sorry,
By
Doug.
the minute.
So, go ahead and call the roll on suspending the rules.
Might be here all night.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Kness.
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Esti.
Yes.
Great, thanks. That's passed. Now go ahead, Doug. Sorry.
So I'll make the motion to pass ordinance 1239. Second and final reading.
Second.
Okay.
Third and final.
Be the third and final
final.
reading, yeah. He was suspended through to the 3rd.
I think the snow's getting all to us. We're all just a little.
It is the
little
second
off.
reading, and it's going to be the final reading.
Yeah, right? Okay. Moved by Flournoy, second by Esti. Any other questions? Now, please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Esti.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Kness.
Yes.
Great, that passed. Thank you, thank you. So I have a few things on the mayor's report. I'll try to get through it quickly. First off, I want to talk about the weather. And what's happening here at the city level. The snowplows are going to be out in the middle of the night or very, very early in the morning. So they'll be doing the main roads first, and then the residential streets, alleys will get done last. So it could be a few days before we get to that. Right now, City Hall will be open tomorrow. What's closing is the Park and Recreation and our library will both be closed tomorrow, open back up on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Carnegie is closing tomorrow as well. If you have any down trees, particularly across the roads or anything, please call the Law Center at 472-4146. And any downed lines, please report that to Alliant. And of course, if there are power outages and you need to check on your neighbors, your particularly elderly neighbors, please do so. And again, report those to Alliant. We don't know yet about recycling pickup and stuff tomorrow, so we'll hopefully know that by morning. And also, they be mindful of parking on the square because they're going to have to get in there and haul away snow. So you have to pay attention to that ordinance as well. So no parking tomorrow night, probably. I want to send my condolences to the family of Jay Zeiser. He was a police officer in our community for 30 years. He passed away last week of cancer. So on behalf of the city of Fairfield, we extend our thoughts and sympathies to the family of Jay. Want to remind people again of the request to serve notice that's on our website. You can search that, request to serve. And if you want to serve on a committee, we really want you to let us know. We have openings in different committees, so please take advantage of that if you want to participate. I want to remind council members also, which you did well tonight, if you have a no vote or you're abstaining from something, please let us know the reason why. Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't, so it's just a little bit of a reminder. and even on a no vote. So, and that, the reason I thought of also that is at our last meeting in December, we did have a no vote regarding the franchise fees. Just so you know, that was Katie, and it was because she was concerned about going from 1% to 5% all in one jump, just so you know. So she would have liked to see us do it over multiple years. But that's just a side comment. There has been, through a couple of us, and particularly Doug just brought this up, he would like Ways and Means to look at a cleaning contract, a specific cleaning contract, maybe for the pool locker rooms. So we'd like to move that to Ways and Means, have a motion to move that to Ways and Means and have them look at that. You want to say anything about that, Doug?
Yeah, I had my ear bent this weekend at the pool, and all the complaints I've heard are about the locker rooms. This weekend I heard about the sauna, and only once other down in the basketball track area. You know, the corners weren't as clean as some people would like. So I thought maybe we could look at issuing an RFP for just the locker rooms and maybe the sauna at the Park and Rec, and see if we can satisfy the constituents who use those areas, and then let the current practice of the employees doing the general mopping and sweeping and taking care of workout equipment remain the same, but just have professionals come in and do the locker rooms and maybe the sauna if that's needed.
Okay, is there a second to that? I'll
So
take that as a
so
motion.
That's the
Doug.
explanation. I thought we'd just move that to Ways and Means and see if we can't find someone who's willing to do that.
The motion is to just find what it would cost and,
Yeah, okay, ask Calvin to bring us back a quote.
yes.
Let him do it, but
Right.
just to instruct him to do that narrow application at the Park and Rec building.
And they'll look at that through the lens of the Ways and Means for this coming year, or to do it right away?
Well, if the budget allows it, as soon as possible.
Okay, so we're instructing Calvin to bring us back
A quote.
a quote. Okay, so is there a second to that motion?
I would
I'll
second.
Okay, moved by Ham. Any discussion? Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Okay, hearing none, that passed. Also, I would also like to take to Property Committee one of our strategic plan items, which was divesting city lots, understanding what we're gonna do with the acquired lots if we get any, our old fire station and our public bathrooms, whether we're gonna renovate. So that's one of the things that I think we should start on right away, so we get a concrete plan.
Yeah.
Cause, you know, we're not gonna have a lot of time to, in my view, to keep these, if we do get properties, to keep them on our books very long.
No, so we have a plan.
Time is money,
Plan
so,
in place already to take care of that property once it's demolished.
so I would like a motion to move that to Property Committee and get
So
started on that
moved.
right away. Okay, moved by Esti,
Second.
second by Flournoy. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, great. Thank you very much. That is all that I have. Thank you. City Attorney report.
Just a couple things. After our last meeting, I had a brief meeting with Abstract Company about things we'll need to do this spring on the 657A list. And they'll be doing, I think, good work for a reasonable price as far as two things we need in each of those files called an ownership certificate and also a lien search going into what we're going to file in district court on each of those. That having been said, the other thing that we've had an ongoing lawsuit that we filed this fall after 4 attempts to get the guy served. We got him served in November. I just, in the last 10 days since his response time was running, received a 25-page pleading from him, which has an answer to our pleadings plus affirmative defenses, which in my opinion they're really not, but I have to plead to him anyway. And then he made counterclaims, which I will mention just because one of them I believe is sort of hilarious. But he basically said that since we controlled an account with a counter signature by me, that we owe him $58,000 in interest that he could have earned if he had that money instead of it being tied up. Now, it's his account in his name, and he set up the terms of the account. I have nothing to do with whether it bears interest or not. But anyway, the total counterclaims right now are $158,000, including $58,000 of interest that he says he could have earned. So I'm actually, even though I'm very calm and collected in explaining this to you, I'm boiling inside. And I have filed a response to this, but I think because it also names Weston McKee, it names a former code inspector, Tom Baker, and it names the city as well as myself. I'm going to meet with our city administrator and probably those named individuals, and we'll call ICAP to see if ICAP wants to apply some ICAP retained counsel to this, as well as your city attorney defending it. I'm named as a defendant also in the counterclaim, so it's the old adage, he who defends himself, blah de blah. You know that one. But anyway, that has just occurred in the last few days. There was supposed to be a trial setting conference last Friday. That got bumped at the person in Florida's request. It will be back up on February 5th. I anticipate by that time we'll have a report to you about whether ICAP's involving, and there's a case called Town of Suffolk, which basically says when you have multiple parties that require similar representation, you have to first disclose to them that there's always the possibility that there might be a conflict. And so even though there's 4 of us in this case that are named in the counterclaim as far as the city, our interests, I believe, are all compatible, so we don't have conflicts. But that's my opinion, and that's the opinion I'm giving myself as my own counsel so far. But there probably will be a point where ICAP says we better do a Town of Suffolk meeting, have that discussion with our 4 people and see if they're okay with me going ahead with what I've already filed. What I have filed right now will stop the train for a while, but this will not be one of those cases where we can move for a default and be moving forward in a couple weeks after the default. This is going to get scheduled for further hearings, and it's what happens when you're in district court compared to magistrate court. The ordinance change that we made tonight about the notices and having them personally served on everybody when we're trying to get a abatement to happen on an ordinary nuisance in magistrate court, that's going to save Weston a lot of time and should save the city some anywhere from $35 to $50 expenses as far as personal service for something that's perfectly well served with a certified mailing. So anyway, this particular case, though, it's a house that has been a problem for us since 2009. It's been something that different inspectors over 2 or 3 year periods, they notice that it's gone to deterioration again. The defendant in the case has stepped in at times and spent some money on it, but right now it's as deteriorated as it's been 13, 14 years ago and was the top of the list. So anyway, that's going on. Any of these that we file in district court, there's the possibility of that. I'm anticipating that some of them, they won't be this way at all. But at this point, we'll keep you informed on that as we go forward.
Great, thank you. Committee and board reports, I don't have anything listed. Anybody got anything? Doesn't look like it. Administrator and department reports.
So we started the codification process again. We pump the brakes with every turn that we go through. We find something with the code that needs to be changed and modified, which we've gone through. So now we're picking up that speed. But we actually, it's such an overwhelming project. The code is 800 pages long. So we're just going to start picking out sections and having those codified, and then we'll go to the next one. So that is something that we've picked back up again, on top of, trying to get the budget moving and all of those discussions that we'll be having. We intend on having a budget workshop that we will not only present all of the department head budgets, but they will be able to speak and highlight those budgets, and then the council will be able to ask questions, and they can have an exchange of what maybe they think may or may not needs to be changed. And so that is something I believe they used to do years and years ago, and then they stopped doing it. We're going to start doing it again. And we would like to actually invite the public, invite all of the elected officials, the county, anybody that may want to see that we help or helps us know where our funds are going. So I think that is something that we're going to pick up, and we'll get those dates set. We have started the process. We're getting ready to bid out the 504 South 6th Street. The asbestos has come back negative, so now we're bidding out to have the property demolished, and then after that property is done, we'll decide how it's going to be dealt with, disposed of, built on, what have you. So we have to be kind of careful because we only have so many funds to deal with that property over time.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
about that? Did we ever consider selling it to an investor or someone prior to demolition that could demolish it themselves at a much lesser rate so that we don't have to take on that cost?
Yeah, we had those discussions, and the majority of the property being in such an unsafe manner that they elected not to take that risk, because we did have people step forward and said, I was in that house, Weston was in that, we had a lot of people in that house, and we deemed it so unsafe that we did not want to have the risk of that property just being a new coat of paint and then having somebody move into it. It was falling down. So we wanted to be sure that we're making it happen to the property what needs to happen.
We also discussed too that we wanted it torn down a specific way, that we didn't want it because of the location and everything of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that we didn't want somebody else in charge of tearing it down because of the hazardous.
Right.
And you're right.
We
I
also
think that's-
considered letting the fire department burn it. But those savings would only been about $10,000, and we didn't want to take the risk of whatever could happen, that could happen. So
It just seems with kind of the lists that we are seeing, I think that we might need to start having conversations about, rather than us doing the demolition and paying for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
Right.
lot of money. I think
well,
that
if we
we
could
should
set up a
talk about
relationship
different.
with somebody in town who we could
I
trust
think that'd be
to
great.
do it,
Yep.
and as they come along, we'll know certain people that will do it the way we want it
Right
done.
way. Correct. Yep. Sounds good.
And I think that's why property committee will look at this at a fine tooth comb.
Yeah.
And maybe even create some standards with, hey, if it's this far gone,
Yep.
it'll be a tear down, or if it's in this condition, it'll be a rehab or
Yep.
Right.
and then how quickly can we move on that? Because
Yeah,
like
we
I
need to
said,
have
we
it
can't
in the-
keep it in our own inventory very long. Time is money.
Yep.
And,
But we need to have an independent person who can evaluate those buildings. Because, there'll be people that come up to you that will tell you, I can remodel this house.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they're just talking to the wind,
Yeah.
So we don't want to be in that situation.
yeah. Yep.
So I would like to recognize years of service that we had our Christmas party before the holidays, and I would like to recognize these people for the time that they've spent here. Paul Gandy, Brian Stever, Ashley Vanoy, and William Regal for 5 years of public service. Justin Bonnet, Ross Vance, Tyler Cook, and Susan Steinbeck for 10 years of service, and Jimmy Simmons for 15 years of public service, Jared Goodrich and Jody Kessler for 20 years of service, Steve Rediger for 25 years of public service, and Julie Cancella for 30 years of public service. I want to say thank you. And public service is not easy. I've been doing this for 30 years and seen a lot of things. And I commend anybody that is in this line of work because it could get tough sometimes. And one of those times is going to be this week. We're anticipating 10 to 14 inches of snow from now until Friday. You'll have crews out all night long on 12-hour shifts, day in and day out until those roads are cleared. So please be careful. I want to ask the citizens to be mindful of the snowplows going through. They can be deadly, and they are doing the best that they can, and please be patient. They're away from their families, and it's a tough job, and they've got a very, very tough job in the next 4 days, and I appreciate what everyone is doing. That's all I have.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, stay home if you can.
I do. I apologize too. I had something under the committee and board that I failed to mention.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
The money that we had allocated 2 years ago for last year to purchase the new ambulance that we had already agreed we were going to turn over to the county will be sent here shortly. So
Okay.
it was a $60,000 portion for a third of the ambulance.
Okay.
And we already passed, I know we already discussed it a while back, but we hadn't sent it yet, and it will be sent here quickly, so.
Okay, great. Thanks. Alrighty. So I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Toohill.
Second.
Second by Kness. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned. Thank you for your time, and everybody get home safe.